Hey guys, Barros and Ramos, and it's time for the Week 6 preview for the Miami Dolphins hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Game kicks off at 1 p.m. at Hard Rock Stadium this October 12th. And, it's fun to have this team back in town, but not with a 1-4 record. Things are not looking good for this Miami Dolphins team, especially after squandering a 17-0 lead in Carolina. In a game where they let up 200 yards on the ground, they had two forced turnovers. Things went right, went wrong, and went from bad to worse late in that one, and allowed the Carolina Panthers to come back. Tough spot for the Miami Dolphins in that one. Meanwhile, Chargers started off the season hot, 3-0. MVP talks about Justin Herbert, and all that has died out within the last 2 weeks after they've lost two in a row. First to the New York Giants, and then last week to the Washington Commanders with Jaden Daniels back under center. Chargers fans and the organization's kind of scratching their head like, what the heck just happened? Like, we were just on top of the world, 3-0. Not looking good for them, but, they are looking at this Miami Dolphins team as just bait, food, just, something to eat on top of their way to probably going and improving to 4-2. But with that being said, let's talk about some of the gambling lines. The Dolphins are not favored. They are underdogs at home at plus 3.5. Chargers are favored at minus 3.5. Over under set at 43.5. Money line is favoring the Los Angeles Chargers at minus 200. Dolphins underdogs at plus 170. ESPN's matchup predictor has the Chargers projected to win at 60.2%. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins are at 39.5. So not looking the best for the Miami Dolphins' chances of winning. But let's talk about some injuries because those are big time when it comes to both of these teams. We'll start with the Chargers since they are on the road. They have Darius Davis, wide receiver, questionable with a knee injury. Joe Alt, offensive tackle, is questionable with an ankle injury. Denzel Perryman, linebacker, is on injured reserve with an ankle injury. Quentin Johnson Jr. is questionable with a hamstring injury. Jaisir Taylor, cornerback. Trey Pipkins, the third guard, is questionable. Same for Jamari Saylor, guard, and Bud Dupree, linebacker. All those guys are listed as questionable with undisclosed injuries. Meanwhile, Amarion Hampton is on injured reserve with an ankle injury. That was one of the more big-time recent blows for this team, especially after they lost Najee Harris on injured reserve with an Achilles injury. He's probably out for the whole year. Let's keep it moving. We have Mekhi Becton, guard, is questionable. And then Deshaun Hand, defensive tackle, is also questionable for a groin injury. And Becton's was a hand injury. We can keep moving. Khalil Mack, linebackers, on injured reserve with an elbow injury. So, man, they got hit with the injury bug really hard, especially over the last couple of weeks. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, you can argue relatively the same, but we'll talk more about it. Darren Waller, tight end, is questionable for hip/rest. Cedric Wilson Jr., wide receiver, is questionable for knee injury. Same for Tyrell Dodson, linebacker, with a concussion. Tua, quarterback, with a hip/left thumb. Those guys are all questionable. And then undisclosed injuries for Elijah Campbell, safety. Larry Borom, offensive tackle. Aaron Brewer, guard. All those guys are listed as questionable as well. Cornell Armstrong, cornerback, is on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. And Jason Sanders' status is still up in the air. He's still listed on injured reserve, and he's not ready to return just yet. Moving on, Storm Duck, cornerback, is questionable. Liam Eichenberg, offensive tackle, is out with an undisclosed injury. And then Austin Jackson, guard, is on injured reserve with a toe injury. James Daniels, guard, is on injured reserve with the pectoral injury. That pretty much dates us back to about last matchup. So, things are not looking great for the Dolphins on the injuries front. Neither it is for the Los Angeles Chargers, and, that can be partial of the reason why they've had this two-game skid. But it's night and day to what this team was at 3-0 to what they are now, and over the last 2 weeks going 0-2. So not so great for this Chargers team. They're looking to come into Miami. They're hoping that they can feast on what everyone is saying is a bad team. Let's see if the Dolphins have anything to do with that. Now, let's get into the keys to victory. I can't believe I have to say this each and every week under this Mike McDaniels regime, but run the dang ball. each and every week, it's pretty much coming up into discussion. The inefficiency of running the football. This Miami Dolphins team, in the last couple of years, whenever they're working their best, is when their running game is firing off. And they have to stick to calling it. It's not going to be every other play, they're going to be a home run. No, they need to just stick to it, beat the other team down. And this is what the Miami Dolphins offensively have failed to do throughout this season. And on top of that, just like over the last couple of years, like big time losses always have been whittled down to the inefficiency of running the football and the lack of consistency in terms of trying it out and just, run the ball. I get it. You had these two wide receivers that you wanted to get the football to. One of them's out now. So you got to definitely readjust and stick to a efficient offensive plan. And that's what I think the Dolphins failed to do in their loss against Carolina Panthers. Hopefully, head gets screwed on right at any given moment now. Fully expecting Mike McDaniel to no longer be the head coach of the Dolphins. It's unfortunate to say that, but it is what it is. Defensively, got to get to the quarterback. They did a good job of it in the first half last week. Hopefully, they can replicate that for a full game's worth of action and really get to Justin Herbert and really make him feel unsettled in the backfield because he has no certainty in the running game. Two of his top running backs are out for the foreseeable future. One of them is out for the year, and the other one is out for the next at least 4 weeks. So, not the best spot for him. And, he's going to be relying on guys like Kamani Vidal. But let's see if, Dolphins defense needs to stop the opponent's running game. 200 yards last week, unacceptable. Now, on top of that, you're facing a backfield with inexperienced players. There should be no excuse for this Miami Dolphins defense to not stifle the run. So that's why my focus more so is getting to the quarterback, because this can really stall and limit this Chargers offense. Last but not least, be an efficient football team. Don't have over 50 yards in penalties. Just be smart about it. Don't shoot yourself in the foot every other drive. It's just really, really piss poor performance that we're seeing from this Dolphins team and their lack of discipline. So hopefully some of those things get in line and the Miami Dolphins find a way to come out on top. But at this point, a lot of fans are probably pretty upset. And each and every week so far for the home games, there's been a banner flying over the stadium pretty much to fire McDaniel and Greer. And then last time they also added Tua to the mix, fully expecting either all that plus Stephen Ross to sell the team or just straight up Stephen Ross sell the team. I would not be surprised if that's the case, if that's flying around the stadium. But a lot of fans are in upheaval right now. I'm working my way there. It's really upsetting to watch, but this is where this team is driving us to. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the preview, and I'll catch you in the post-game review after the game. Peace out.